And
William Segway.
William Segway.
Yeah.
Will Segway. Oh yeah, that's another one.
Yeah,
to say.
it's sad about Will Segway. Remember what he used to do? He lived in Falconbridge for years.
What's Falconbridge? Hold on. I also wanted to say. Oh, I forgot what I wanted to say. That I also wanted. Oh yeah.
Names over the net.
The inventor of the Segway died in a terrible Segway
I
accident.
heard about that. I actually think it's. Like
Is that not in the most ironic shit you've ever fucking
Okay,
heard?
just open that up and pull up a fucked up fact, and we'll discuss.
Did the owner of the inventor of the airplane die in an airplane crash?
Yeah, Tommy Airplane, I believe his name was.
Tommy Airplane.
I imagine so.
Just like the Oldsmobile. The guy's name was Oldsmobile?
Taylor, oh yeah.
I'll just read this page, I guess.
Well, just find something that's interesting. There's a lot of useless facts.
Yeah, it's all useless. It's called useless facts. Frank Kalka exercised in front of his window. Don't even know who that is. Hugh Hefner has someone pre-select his potato chips so he doesn't have to eat broken ones.
Who is that?
Hugh Hefner. How fuck do you got to be like, I don't want no broken chips?
Chip.
Well, you hear about that all the time.
We should
only
also-
want
yeah.
blue jelly beans. You know, like
Or dogs. All the jelly beans are great to them anyways. The tastiest part of a cooked hippopotamus is its breasts.
oh, I could have told you that. I shot one a couple years back.
Obviously.
Definitely not
Stupid.
the rump.
Not
You eating
the-
that hippo rump.
Okay, we should do this whole podcast with accents. Hello, governor. What about that? No? What about
I
Scottish?
can't really do any
People
accents.
rump.
Okay, do
I
have
think
your
I can
own
do
accent.
Borat.
on the is French an accent?
Of course.
What's it? What kind of question is that?
Well, no, because like the French guy at work, I always say talk to him like this, tree.
Call
And
this tabernacle.
He's offended, but I'm laughing. But that's not an accent, really. That's just like.
That's how they talk sometimes, some of them. It's
Yeah.
just
But
accentuation
does it sound like that in French? Like if I were to say,
If a guy from France
would
was-
like three
were to speak
pizza.
English, yeah, they talk like that.
I have a good question.
one of my electricians
They
at
don't
work,
pluralize anything.
he goes, I'm like, is it connected? He goes, it's all connect.
Yeah, see, they don't pluralize anything.
No,
It's all connect.
it is all
I
connect.
have a good question, actually.
Question away, my friend. Hold
A lot
on.
of questions nobody asked.
Hold on. That was sorry. I thought it was gonna be big. It feels bigger, but it wasn't.
Don't
No,
waste their
backed
time.
up, eh?
Don't waste
Yeah.
their fucking
Okay, go
time.
ahead. It's coming out as a fart later.
So, see if a Russian guy learned French
Russia.
and an English guy learned French, and then they both talked to a French guy in French, would there be different accents?
Of course.
That's what I
there
mean.
will
It's just
be.
French is not.
You can speak
These are the
French with a
questions that
Russian
keep me up at night.
If a French
I haven't
dude,
slept for days thinking about it,
if,
to be
if
honest.
a native French speaker were to hear somebody that's first language is Russian speak French, I'm sure they'd have a Russian
Yeah,
accent.
Russians are scary and all deep voiced. Remember
Yes.
that guy? You think this is bad neighborhood? That's right away. You know not to fuck with that guy. He's Russian.
Well,
They have to point guns at you to merge into traffic. Like, whoa, it's cool, man.
There was a good comedian, and he's a black comedian. He goes, "Russians are the scariest white people."
Did you have to make sure he was a good comedian because you said he was a black comedian?
But he's good.
Yeah, he's good, but he had a good point.
It's
He's
all
like,
good.
"Yeah, Russians are the
Well,
scariest
no,
white
no
people."
racism here. It's so scary to talk now. As soon as you said the word native, I'm like, oh, no. Where are you going with this?
I'm a native Earthian,
Yeah.
or like to the planet.
Yeah.
I think.
I think.
Don't we do offend any aliens?
Yeah, but if you can always tell where someone is from in the world talking English, so obviously I would assume French is the same thing.
Yeah,
It's weird because
That East Indian guy at work that I always talk, I try to do his accent and I try to get him to do mine and he won't.
Mm.
Immediately, you know he's East Indian.
that's actually
And-
crazy.
And
Everyone,
even
Because they sometimes can. We could do. People are good at accents no matter what language, I guess.
yeah,
Try to talk with an English accent like a British. That would be
yeah. Like I would never do that to someone who I didn't know well enough to joke with, right? Obviously,
yeah.
but you can always I want someone to do me who isn't like normally, and every time I ask someone, it's like they're offended by it.
That's
Yeah,
good.
weird, eh?
But I mean, like, I know that you know that I sound weird to them because I'm not their
Yeah.
culture.
Well,
I know
how do you
can
think
talk better,
I
talk
feel?
better.
Fuck, they must think I'm an alien from fucking planet Zeltai. Fuck.
He does
Is
not
this
know how
guy
to
from
speak English.
Zeltar? We all know what Zeltar is, obviously.
It's crazy when you think about it, because like we growing up, you can tell where someone's from, even if you don't know like where the country is on a map,
Yeah, just by
and
So-
you learn that at a young age. Yeah, like
anyone who speaks French watching this and be like, these fucking idiots.
I'll call this tabernacle.
I am apology.
For me.
Well, I like your T-shirt. Did you get that at the Valou Village? Remember
It
that?
sounds so fancy in French, eh? I bought this at Value Village. Oh no, I bought it at Value Village.
With the French accent, man. You feel like before you know it, you'd be drinking wine in a bathtub.
Would your buddy be mad if I brought up him punching a deer?
Oh fuck, he's not even at Wilk anymore. So go
Okay.
for it.
So
Did you hear the story?
I don't know if I
think
told you
so,
this.
but yeah.
So,
I forgot about this actually.
well, I've told people at work and they've cracked too.
Your wife fucking pistol pants laughing. dude.
Yeah, well, because it was the after comment. So, driving home from work, Andy works Northern Ontario, like way up north. It's a
Yeah.
travel job.
Like 12 hours.
In the
away from
company
Wilk.
vehicle on the way back, they hit a deer. And the deer wasn't dead, it was just twisted. So the guy in
It
the
was pretty mangled.
the
but-
guy in the passenger seat goes, well, I was gonna burp. Well, better go put it out of its misery. Gets out of the truck, and Andy's in the back seat, but he can see the driver's mirror. He can see him in the mirror, and the guy goes petting the deer, and he goes,
He grabs it by the
Just
antlers
start
and starts
punching it.
punching it in the face.
"Okay."
And
This
the
deer
driver
hits.
goes, what the fuck are you doing? And then
They get
This
the
is
fuck.
serious?
Yeah, he goes, get the fuck back in the truck before people see you punching deers. Like who sees their company logo on the side of the
Yeah.
truck, and there's a guy on the side of the road just hammering this deer.
beat the shit out of the deal.
Gets back in the truck and he goes, "What a beautiful creature!" Like that was what cracked my wife up when
Well,
I told her that.
Well, it was like
What a
an
beautiful-
hour in the drive, and like it's a 10 and 12 hour drive, and like no one had to say anything. Everyone was just thinking about it, and eventually he thought I should break the ice. What a beautiful creature! We just looked at him.
So they call the cops to shoot or whatever. They get back to the shop. Foreman calls them. We have reports you guys are out punching deers. So people saw this guy punching a deer
He
on the
gets
side
back,
of the.
his name's already in the paper.
I don't want to bring this up, but were you guys punching deers? It's such an open-ended question, like just out punching deers.
Well, the best thing is, I'm like, hey man, you mind if I crack a beer? Because we stopped, and it's 12-hour drive, so I'm like, fuck, I'll have a few beers and kick the shit with all the guys.
Kick the shit. Continue.
But I didn't
kicking.
like physically mean kick the shit out of a deal. I don't know what I was getting myself into. The guy was worried enough. He's like, just don't fucking get caught drinking.
But like of all the options, well, better go put it out of its misery.
What a beautiful
well, it was
You
it was
know,
the
like-
driver that said it first. He's like, we had to
Oh,
put it out of his
fuck.
misery.
Well,
and
and-
he's like trying to look for maybe a tile island, something. And this guy just goes, "I'll do it," and just starts punching it in the face.
If you've ever been hunting, you see deer run through bushes, full brush, getting branches whack in the face harder than you could ever punch. And this guy, like, the deer is probably thinking, like, what the fuck's going on? Black flies are large this year. You know? This poor
Oh, fuck.
bastard. Oh, after getting hit by a truck, he gets the shit kicked out of him.
and
he
the
can't
best
defend-
thing is, like, we just said it's just gonna die, and like I don't know what happened to it. He just drove off. We took that lunatic away from him.
Yeah.
Need to pull him off the deer.
Yeah. Let me go, man. Let me at him. Had to pull him off this fucking deer.
You know what? That would make an awesome skit of just some like road rage
Road rage
fucking
with the animals.
guy that's all hopped up on steroids, and he hits a deal, and he's got like a Ford Raptor that's all like blinged out. He's like, What? You hit my car button? And he starts
He like
beating the
rushes
shit,
the deer, double legs the deer.
puts it in a headlock,
Poor
chokes it out.
As fuck though. The company Hey, we got a couple calls. You guys are punching deers? Like, such as, nah, man, wasn't us.
Got these deer punching reports back in.
Imagine being the person calling that in.
We
Oh
have
my God, there's a guy punching a deer. Okay.
the worst thing is with my crew, we'll always get in complaints because we're just all lunatics. Like our supervisor got fired because he showed up on the mine site hammered drunk one day.
The supervisor got fired because he didn't fire all these guys.
I wouldn't call that lunatic as much as I would alcoholism. But either way, I mean,
Could have been a full moon.
we all experience things differently.
He was the one that was dating a stripper too.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He had some good stories, though.
Oh fuck! I have so many stories.
Those
I'd
travel jobs are
Was it
always...
when you were dating a stripper?
No, my supervisor was, and he'd leave in the middle of the night and drive 2 hours to the closest town, which was Thunder Bay. Go bang and then show up at 5 in the morning and miss the safety meeting.
Meanwhile, that was the stripper's fourth fucking client.
Yeah.
When you know how those travel jobs go, though? Big money, and you go to these small towns with not much in them, but you show up and you're the only $150,000 a year earner.
Yeah.
And people, like, even when I worked for CN, working up north in these towns where the lumber industry collapsed, they knew you were a high earner, and even the hotels, we'll give you 2 days free, stay here. Like, just trying to convince you to, you know what I mean? Like, it made you feel like a king. Like, yes.
But there's a girl in my room.
I do,
Yes,
but there's
know.
a girl in my room.
We know.
Made you feel like a king, though, right? Like, I have a job. And, ooh.
I have a job to do.
Yeah.
I always said, like, you always see hookers and shit in, like, downtown and city areas. They just hang outside of mine.
Well, even the hotels we stayed at, they'd go down the door, knocking one door, like, have to call the cops on her. Same hooker all the time.
Let me fix you up till you go home to your wife and kids. Like,
Yeah. And she'd trick you by saying housekeeping.
My buddy
They open the door and, oh, nah, you're not trying to keep my house. You fucking
they don't
liar.
use big feather brooms like that. And they don't, like,
Yeah.
feather
How
duster.
come this housekeeper needs a butt plug? I better call the main office.
That skirt's too short to be a real housemaid.
Yeah. How come your housemaid's so weird? Well, she doesn't come in on Wednesdays, sir. Aw, shit. You know she just scoped the place out. Yeah.
Let's get off that topic.
Or stay. That's the end of that topic, I guess. Hookers are the end of a topic. That'll finalize everything.
If you ever want to kill a party, just bring up hookers. Who needs hookers? There's always quiet after that.
Are they liking that term, hookers? Do they call themselves hookers?
Well, I don't think they're unionized.
What do you do for a living? I'm a hooker.
I'd love to meet
Doesn't
him.
that sound like not good? Or
Yeah, it's the sex industry.
yeah,
Be politically
Yeah, I
correct.
imagine it's like being called like.
I'm an SW.
I feel like a hooker. Yeah, that's
sex worker.
Everything.
It's a slang word, like like it's helpful for hookers.
Yeah, but as soon whatever word has been used for long enough that people get tired of it, then it becomes ignorant. You mean like
beep?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm an easygoing guy. I like to call them God's little children.
What?
I always wondered why that was illegal, though.
Hookers?
Yeah.
Probably
They don't pay tax.
it, yeah.
Yeah, they don't pay tax, man.